Hello. Oh, yeah. Welcome to the TV room. David Bradley here. I did this earlier. Maybe I'll do another one. That is, I found this other little tripod thing, which I don't like nearly as much as the one I used up there. But it has its moments. It does. And as I'm doing this, differently, I can do this differently. Although, in thinking about what I'm about to do, I don't know what I can do here. Let's see here. There's a cable that ultimately is probably going to go to a disk drive. Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah, that's good. I'm going to do this with this hand, so I don't get the big hand at the start and the end of the time lapse. All right, here is the guaranteed way tool to fix a broken Commodore 64 power supply. Yes, and I did a little more. I snipped the wires off a little closer. There they are. So this one, it was reading 5.21, and it came up with 10 something, and then when I chopped it, it was 11.1. That's not good. Not good. All right, what am I going to do with it? I'll just stick it here. I've got some others. I think I will use them to do a little garden edging. Oh, what a mess I have here. Okay. You know what? There's been a fellow who I was in touch with. I got to get in touch with him again. He was looking for a SID chip for one of these. This is the Commodore 64 board that I really don't like. And why don't I like it? Well, it's not because it's smaller. I don't care that it's smaller. But what it does have is right here in the middle, it has this great big chip. Oh, did I need to turn those on? I guess I did. Anyway, the chip here, the 2517115-01, made in the 5528. Well, I don't know what that means. Anyway, good. It's good. It's good. Anyway, there's a fellow interested in the SID chip for this. And then there's another fellow who was interested in a video chip. And of course, I have been sick. But now that I refound this board, I should snag a power supply. This is a dirty old power supply, but it seems to be fine. But, as you never know when they might fail, I will plug in, give it another little test. 5.20. Yeah, well, that's okay. Alright, so the power is off. The video cable is here. I could actually plug this one into the upper video, but I won't. I'll plug this one into. Now, I know you're not going to be able to see much on there, but anyway. Wow. I know you can't see as well on that one, but there's an awful lot of lines on there. Not on there. Looks pretty fine on there. It does. Anyway, that's all good. I think all I want to do right now is grab still the retro rewind 4-in-1 diagnostic cartridge. Turn off the computer. Put this on diagnostics. Put it on set 1. Plug it in. Turn it on. And there she goes. I will have to look back in my messages, because what it would seem is, what we'll see, the SID chip. Oh, did I turn this on? Yes, I did. The SID chip, I hope, will sing. There it goes. Yeah, that's lovely. Okay, now we're going to go to the dead test, which will take a little longer. I just want to listen to all the available ways of listening to the SID chip. Which, you know what, it may be that this cartridge thing isn't happy with these. And now that I think of it, I may have known that. I did pick up one of these boards at the World of Commodore a couple of years ago, and I did pass it along to one Matthew Desmond, because I think there was trouble. Alright, well, that should have come up by now. So, diagnostic, ta-da. Okay, that comes up okay. So that's just dandy. So, now I have to find and go back into my archives of things and find the messages from people. And, yes, indeedy. So that then I can help them resurrect their things. Now, if I look rightly on here, most of this is not socketed. An 8580 is now the SID chip. An 8562 is the video chip, and they're both fine. And then in here, there is a lot less chips. There is. There is indeed. Anyway, well, these all seem quite happy and dandy. It has the same kind of fuse. It does. Although instead of being horizontal, it's vertical. Anyway, I'm sure this board cost them a lot less to make, and they probably had people endlessly working on how can we save a little bit more money and get the board a little smaller and have less components and to do the same thing. And they surely did. There's still two 6526 chips, and there's still a video chip, which is of course different, and it still has the 8701. And what is that thing? 8500. Oh, okay. I guess that is a replacement for the 6510. It is. Anyway. Yeah, and this is a PCB assembly number 250469, And it is a 252311 revision 3, made in Hong Kong. Indeedy. And it has the typical things on it. There were, you would, all the things are numbered and lettered and figured and such. Anyway, much smaller, less components, and of course there is, I refer to it as the Super PLA chip, and I hate it. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. It's a big chip. It's, you can go off now. And I'll show it to you a little closer here. It's off, it's off, it's off. Come on. It's this big sucker. It almost looks like a 68,000 chip. It's got more pins, more chips. They're closer together. It's hard to find sockets. It's hard to find replacements. It's just blah, blah. Don't like it. Anyway. So, perhaps if I'm going to sell the 8562R4 and the 8580R5, perhaps I should see about, maybe, well, I could always sell this as a working board, just missing 2 chips. And that would cost me a lot less trouble. If I could, I suppose. See, not many of the chips are in sockets. I suppose another thing I could do is to cannibalize this, because I don't like it. I don't like it. But, I don't know. I'll see. It's a shame. I don't mind selling chips off of a board to get other people up and going. But I hate having a working something and then destroy it. Do no harm. Do no harm. And now I need to figure out, okay, here's a safe place to put this up on the top of a blue Commodore 64 that Rudy from Rudy's Retro Intel passed along to me. It's the one that he did in zip sockets. And the crazy thing is, he gave me one like this. We did a whole thing long ago. And then I can't find it. So here I'm taking the power. It's not plugged in. Sorry, it's not turned on, the 64. And now I will take the video and I will turn this on. And I will see that this will come up. Isn't it lovely? And I think the keyboard is okay. 553280, 55328, 1, 0. And we'll put in the usual program. Not looking at it. And I'll type run. Oh, that didn't work out right. It doesn't look. The pattern is not right. What have I done? Ah, I missed a space. Ah. You can just tell. Oh, that still doesn't look right. What did I do? Oh, I missed 2 spaces. One at the end. One in between. This should look better. There it is. World of Commodore, World of Commodore, World of Commodore, World of Commodore. Now, isn't it lovely? Anyway, this is quite a lovely 64. And, if I'm not mistaken, oh yeah, it's an original one. With, that's why the video looks a little wonky on the screen. But it's lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Perhaps I will use it. I need to sort out some disk drives here. I do. So, I think what I'm going to do, turn this off, pull this out, and look at what I have underneath. Commodore 64 seems to work. Sit okay. Original early motherboard, all chips and sockets. Clean. 326298. Sorry, with a C. Version C, not A, not B. Good test machine. Video typical of early 64s with a sad. I could see about adjusting that. I could. Anyway, okay, so this is a good one to test things with. So I'm going to put this down here very carefully. It's trying to open up. I don't want it to open up and fall. Well, maybe if it opens up, it's less likely to fall. So, yeah, I've got to do some more documenting on things. So, next time we'll look at some other 64s and we'll document. Until then, have a lovely, lovely, lovely day. David Bradley in the TV room, signing off. Bye for now. I hear beeps. Bye.